Welcome to the 2011 RAF Waddington International Airshow, and what a show we've got for you. Coming up, we interview one of the last crew members from the Nimrod that retired at the end of June. We'll also be talking to those who fly on the E3D Sentry, and some of the highlights of the show have got to be an interview with the display pilot of the Vulcan and the Thunderbird display team from Las Vegas. Now, through the social media phenomenon of Twitter, I've been following at RAF BBMF for the last few days, and with me now is their PR officer, Yvonne Masters. Now, Yvonne, you're down here at RAF Waddington. What is the BBMF doing here?
Basically, this is our local show, if you like. We're here with our memorabilia trailer. We've got our Lancaster, Spitfire and Hurricane flying today. So we're going to be part of the main display. But also we're on the ground to a couple of reasons, really. We're trying to interact with the local public, get them used to our faces, used to the crew, used to the team, and also promote our RAF display team's Coast to Coast Charity Cycle Challenge that we're doing.
Right.
We're joining the Red Arrows. We're being sponsored by Merida. These fabulous bikes stand behind us. And 10 crew from BBMF, 10 crew from the Red Arrows are actually going to cycle 100 miles a day, covering 400 miles in 4 days. The challenge certainly needs to be emphasised. I mean, I've just driven with one of the pilots who's going to be cycling the first part of the stretch, which is from St David's Head in Wales, straight through to Brecon, and hilly isn't a word. And actually, that's the sort of face he was pulling as I was driving the Land Rover up some of the hills, and she was hunting for the lowest gear. That's the face he was pulling, exactly. Yeah.
That's a pretty tough one, knowing that neck of the woods. And that's all been done, obviously, for a good cause, is it?
Definitely, yes. We're sponsoring, or supporting, if you like, RAFA, who are just behind us, for their Miles More Minutes campaign, which is basically to give the guys out in Afghanistan and Libya and all the different operational bases more time on the phone with their families. And also quite a small charity called Fly to Help, which sponsors terminally ill children and gives them the love of aviation, or the chance to get that trip of a lifetime, really.
Okay. Of course, the other big thing, one reason why I was attracted to come along, is you use Twitter, don't you?
Absolutely.
Why did you decide that this side of the face of the RAF then needed to be on Twitter? Okay,
I mean, to be honest, one of my main sort of aims this year, I mean, last year we had a phenomenal year, the anniversary of the Battle of Britain. It was superb, really engaging with the veterans. This year, what I wanted to try and do was engage with the younger community. Now, I know I'm not being ageist and saying Twitter is a thing for young people, but it's something, the sort of social networking is something that BBMF have never done. So we accessed the RAF main Facebook page. Maybe when we start looking at a Facebook page of our own next year. I can't do everything all in one go, as much as I'd love to. But Twitter seemed a really easy, super friendly way of engaging people.
But it's great, isn't it?
It is.
Because you can share things
Indeed.
with people that might not necessarily live in this country.
Well,
even.
indeed, and it's an absolute insight. I mean, some of the pictures the guys take are phenomenal. You know, engine changes, tyre changes, stuff that, frankly, we get a little bit complacent and think, well, okay, it's an engine change. But I've learned from using our YouTube channel that people are fascinated, and it's also a quick snip. Actually, this is happening now. Come and have a look, and I can use it to direct people to our website, or to direct their people to YouTube. It's just a super friendly way of using it. Yeah, we love it.
Brilliant. So there you go. You would get on Twitter and follow at RAF BBMF. Talking to Yvonne there about how they've been using Twitter from the Battle of Britain Memorial flight, and with me now is a fellow tweeter who has come all the way from Spain.
Yes.
Wow. So you actually have been chatting to them
Yes,
via Twitter.
Yes, a lot, because I come here every summer,
Right.
and I usually visit when I come the Memorial Flight and Coningsby and so on.
Yeah.
And well, when they started using Twitter, well, it was good to follow them and being able to know every day what they were doing and so on. So it has been great.
Fantastic. It is, isn't it? So what are you looking forward to seeing here at the air show?
Yeah, for me today is the Vulcan, because I have been looking a long time for seeing it, and it's going to be the first time I'm going to be able to see it. So it's really nice, and of course the rest. But obviously this is the start for me of the show. So.
Now, there's something at Waddington which is known as the Vulcan Effect, and it's the effect that this aircraft that I'm standing underneath seems to have on the public who come here, because many of them seem to come here just to watch this grand old lady fly. Now, as you can see up here on the bomb bay doors, there's a flying roll of honour, and it's the names of all the public who have generously pledged to keep this plane flying. Now behind me you can probably see the Vulcan, and I think it's what most people come to Waddington to actually see. And with me is the pilot of that plane, Kev Rumans. Now Kev, we're going to have to shout here because obviously we are at an air show.
That's right.
It gets a bit noisy. Now you're the pilot of this fantastic plane. How
one
long?
of 5.
One of 5.
Yeah.
So how long have you actually been involved?
I first flew this aircraft, 558, in 1987. I was a display pilot for 2 years then when I was in the RAF, and I've subsequently been flying now for 4 years since the aircraft was restored.
Okay. Now what does she like to fly?
Difficult to answer that question. I mean, she's an aeroplane and she flies like lots of other aircraft.
Okay.
I mean, the general basics of flying aeroplanes are very similar. However, as you can see, the Vulcan is a big delta wing, big triangular wing. So because of that, she has a few different handling characteristics. So we are able to fly this particular aircraft very slow, and because she's a large aircraft, it looks to the crowd like she shouldn't fly that slow. So the display,
fall out the sky.
yeah. So the display we fly is quite a majestic, slow display.
Okay.
But the aircraft is a joy to fly because of the controls and the big wing.
Now, we were talking before that people like the noise.
Yes.
So tell us about, because there's one particular element of your display that you do where you are noisy.
Yes, a little bit like this hawk.
Yes.
Yeah, no, every time we put full power on, we make a little bit of noise. So I make a little bit of noise every time I do a wing over. But we do a spiral climb, so we do a 360-degree turn at full power.
Right.
And actually, we've actually had a few, or more than a few, of the public say, couldn't you make some more noise? So this year we're trying to introduce doing that spiral climb, but going around, a second time round. So we'll climb a little bit higher and make a little bit more noise hopefully today, and hopefully that'll keep the Vulcan enthusiasts happy.
Let's hope it does. Thank you very much for talking to us.
No problem.
Now earlier we spoke to the pilot of the Vulcan, but with me now is Michael Trotter, who's the Business Development Director of the Vulcan Project. Now Michael, this fantastic plane behind us, who Britain seems to have taken to their hearts,
Indeed.
isn't cheap, shall we say, to run, is it? So what's your involvement?
My involvement is to, as my title implies, is to run the commercial side of the project. The followers of the project, I think, know that the aircraft takes £2 million a year to run. That's because she has a permit to fly from the CAA. She's treated like a civil airliner.
Okay.
So we have to maintain to very high standards. So, as I say, it costs £2 million a year to fly the aircraft.
And £2 million, I mean, that is a lot of money we're talking about each year. So how do you actually sort of like gather that together? What do you do?
We have several strands of fundraising. We have our own merchandise operation that you can see here in the Vulcan Village. We have sponsorship. We have 2 sponsors this year already to help us fly the aircraft.
Yeah.
But the major income stream is the general public's donations, standing orders, sending money in through the post when we appeal for it. Every time we appeal, the general public, the great British public, put their hands in their pockets. Yeah. So
this is it. You know, people out there, they all love this plane, don't they, when they see her fly. Every year, do you worry, you think, we've got to find this money? Do you ever have those moments where you think she might be grounded?
No, not every year. I have that worry every day.
Right,
I
okay.
check the cash on this project every day to make sure we're trading legally, to make sure we're paying our suppliers and creditors on time. And it's a constant worry for all of us, but it's also quite challenging and therefore quite exciting.
Okay. So if people want to help then, what can they do?
The best thing to do is to go to the Vulcan to the Sky website, that's vulcantothesky.org. You can set up a standing order, which is very useful to us. You can buy merchandise, you can donate to several of the plaques we put in the aircraft, and we'll be announcing a major promotion at the Royal International Air Tattoo as well, to start celebrating the Queen's Diamond Jubilee next year.
Okay, brilliant. Well, good luck. Fingers crossed she keeps flying.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Down to the main static display line now, where I'm going to be talking to some of the many international and UK pilots who are here with their aircraft and find out a bit more about their role. The highlights of being at the air show, of course, is meeting the many international crews that come here with airplanes. And with me now, all the way from France, is the pilot of the plane behind us. What is it here that you've brought to Waddington?
We are very happy to come to Waddington first because it's a big air show. We'll see many aircraft, and there's many aircraft on the ground also. So it's very interesting for us. And we are the only aircraft from France, so we are proud of it.
Flying the French flag here today. Now, the plane that you've actually come in then is the Alpha Jet, isn't it?
Yes, it's the Alpha Jet, so it's an aircraft which is done for training. The aim is to train the young pilot to be fighter pilots, because they will be graduates at the end with they will be fighter pilots.
Now, it's your first time, you say, here at Waddington. Are you looking forward to any of the air displays?
The Red Arrows?
Why not when you come to England, the Red Arrows? What about the Thunderbirds?
Yes, also, yes.
And so that's going to be an interesting display, that one. Brilliant. So it's great. We've got nice British weather as well for you, haven't we?
We are lucky for this. And not so warm, so it's cool.
Brilliant. Thank you.
No problem.
Now we've hurried down to the meet the pilots area, because behind me you'll see the Thunderbird pilots, and with me is Jake Richmond, their public affairs specialist. Jake, you're here in England at Waddington. When was the last time the Thunderbirds were here?
We were here back in June of 2000, actually. Obviously, I wasn't on the team back then, but I hear that was a good show too.
Today they've wowed the crowds, haven't they? And judging by this queue, they're probably one of the top billings.
Yeah, and after I was just out here handing out brochures to everyone, we've got nothing but compliments. I can't take credit for what happens in the air, but I said thank you just the same, and people seem very happy.
Now, we can see that they're behind there signing away. Just tell us a little bit then about the display that they did and about the planes that they actually fly.
Well, we fly a Lockheed Martin F-16. It's a multi-role fighter, so it does just about anything you want it to do in the air, whatever kind of aerial missions you want, air to ground, air to air. And the display is focused sort of around two concepts. We have the 1 through 4 is called the Diamond, and they fly in a diamond shape. And they're displaying teamwork, precision, the amount of training it takes for the pilots to become as good as what they do as they are. And the other concept is where the two solos interact. They don't fly in formation, but they're displaying what the aircraft itself can do. And obviously that takes skill from the pilot as well. But you know, the high-speed passes and the maximum turns and all that stuff, that's to showcase to the public what those aircraft are capable of.
Why the name Thunderbirds?
Well, I'll tell you the whole story, and then if that's too long, you let me know. But basically, when the Thunderbirds first existed, it was in Arizona, where Native American Indian culture was prevalent, and that the Thunderbird is a Native American heritage symbol. And so that was sort of the casual name when the Air Force decided we want a demonstration team here. Let's just call them the Thunderbirds for now. Then they had a contest to give them their official name, and they opened it up to anyone in the Air Force, and a staff sergeant ended up winning the contest with the name Stardusters, and he got an all-expense-paid trip to Las Vegas. And it wasn't very long, but a month later, the 3-star general who was in charge of the command at the time said, I don't really like Stardusters. He got his trip to Vegas, but what was that other name you guys were talking about? Thunderbirds. And the interesting part is, back then, the reason they didn't go with Thunderbirds is because it was prevalent so much in other respects that they didn't think it had enough, unique individuality to the name. And now that's what's most associated with that term is this demonstration team, at least in the U.S. So
I was going to say, because in the UK you say Thunderbirds and it's the TV programme with the little puppets on strings, isn't it?
I'm not familiar with that, but I'll remember that one.
Well, I only had to ask because obviously their outfits. If you've ever seen the Thunderbirds TV programme, actually, that is
Does
the
it really?
It is, yes, that is the Thunderbirds.
I'm going to have to look that up on YouTube.
You are, aren't you?
That could make for some good comic fodder at our events.
Honest to God, I honestly thought that was what they were named after.
Now I know why you asked.
Exactly, but it's not. It's to do with a bit more heritage.
Yeah, in the Native American heritage, the Thunderbird was and is sort of an omnipotent being, and it was sort of a deity to that culture.
Oh, well, I've learned something new that has nothing to do with the Thunderbirds TV programme.
Absolutely not.
So far then, it's been good for you today. You've been enjoying the air show?
Oh, absolutely. It feels great. I mean, back in Las Vegas, it's 100 degrees, so I would like a few, maybe the clouds could go away a little bit. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to do a few more maneuvers, but it's a great day, and this is my first time in England. It's the same for a lot of us, so we've been having a great time.
Well, at least we've given you some good British weather then.
Yeah, I think so. We expected a lot of rain. That's what, English weather.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, they're fantastic, yeah.
Is it the first time you've seen them?
No, I've seen them before. They were awesome, brilliant, really good,
Has this been the highlight for you then?
Well, I'll see what, but Vulcan should be good, but yeah, they have been really good, yeah.
I really like the bits where they went really close to each other because they almost it was really tricky. I mean, they might have almost hit each other.
And now you're going to get all their autographs?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the Thunderbirds display?
Yeah, they were absolutely superb. They've always been a fantastic air display team, and they're on a par with our Red Arrows, really, and they just go all out. The skills are phenomenal. So, yeah, it's great having them here, and I hope they come again. They're really terrific.
They were really good, yeah.
They're really lovely.
We've seen them before.
Very excited. Right.
Seen them in Reno, seen them at the air races, but yeah, they're fantastic.
Are you Thunderbird groupies?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
So you enjoy today's display?
Absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. Come all the way from London for this, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you regularly go around the air shows?
Yeah.
Are you big air?
Yeah, we do. We go to quite a lot, so.
That's quite nice because you don't see many females that are into planes, do you?
It's getting so busy though. More and more people bringing their children, introducing them to aeroplanes, educating them. I think it's amazing.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
I'm in a part of the airfield now where people can actually come on board some of the aircraft. Now behind us is the E3D Sentry, and with me is Tom Atkins, who is surveillance controller on board. Tom, what actually are you doing down here today?
Well, today we're allowing people to see inside this aircraft. Obviously the people from around Lincolnshire see us flying around a lot, and we're always mentioned in the press as being the ultra-secret spy plane, which isn't strictly what we do, but today we're giving the public the opportunity to go on board and see what it's like inside.
Right, the plane itself, you'll probably see from the front, it's got a big stick that comes out the front of the plane, which means we can refuel off other planes. So there's another plane just like this without a roof rack that flies along with a big hose pipe out the back.
Well, you get everything from the avid spotter who knows more about the aeroplane than we do to the general public who just want to come and have a look. And we'll get questions from the kids about how fast it'll fly, how high it'll fly. And then you get the really in-depth questions like how far can the radar see and things like that. And obviously there's a limit to what we can actually say that it can and can't do.
That all sounds very busy, but you found time, you got down here to write a book.
Yes.
What's all this about?
Well, when I was flying trips over Afghanistan, there were such long trips, 14-hour trips. You needed a couple of days between trips to recover before you flew the next trip. Well, we were operating out of a desert airfield in the Middle East, and living in a tent in the middle of the desert, 2 days, nothing to do. I decided I'd fill my time up writing a book, and I do a lot of work here with the Aircrew Association. And of course, Lincolnshire, the bomber county, a lot of the old boys flew the Lancasters around here. And I learnt about all their old war stories, and of course they're all real heroes. They're all dying out, and I thought it'd be a real shame if their stories died with them. So I took all the stories and I put it together in a book.
Fantastic. Is this the next Hollywood blockbuster?
It could be.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problem. I hope you enjoy the show.
On June the 28th this year, the Nimrod retired from service altogether, and it's been replaced in a few years' time. And with me is a chap called Stonks from 51 Squadron, and you actually were involved with the Nimrod. What was your role?
I've been on the Nimrod for the past 11 years, employed as an airborne signaller.
Okay. Yeah. Now, for many, it was sad that the Nimrod has gone out of service. Yes. What memories do you have? Are they happy memories of being on that aircraft?
It is. It's probably the best aircraft in the world at doing the job that it does. And so it'll be largely missed throughout the world on all the operations that it has been taken part in.
Now, what has happened then to the people that were involved with the Nimrod squadron? Where have they now gone?
Initially, we sent some people off to America to train on the rivet joint, which is going to be replacing the Nimrod, while other people were still flying the Nimrod. I was on the first course, so I've been away for the majority of this year. I've just got back. And now the Nimrod has gone out of service, the rest of the people will be going out to train on the rivet joint. And people that are trained, like myself, are deploying with the Americans to work on rivet joint out in various theatres.
And is there a big difference between the two aircraft at all?
The job they do is the same. Obviously it looks a lot different, and inside it is considerably bigger than the Nimrod and considerably more modern than the Nimrod, but essentially the output is the same.
So just talk us through that. What were these types, or what is going to be the rivet joint going to be used for?
It's going to be used for intelligence, surveillance, stuff like that, in combination with other platforms, as the Nimrod was.
Okay. So, on that last day in June, then, did your guys have a farewell party?
Yep, we had a parade just outside the hangar here. The Chief of the Air Staff came, and the Nimrod did a flyby, and that was its last flight.
Were there many tears?
It was a sad day. There was about 700 people here, guys that had flown on it since the squadron moved up here from RAF Waddington, and a lot of old guys had a tear in their eye yet.
airshow, definite highlight has been Vulcan. Absolutely wonderful. Beautiful to see it in the sky. It's actually done a really, really good job. Looks fabulous.
I think the Vulcan, slightly ahead of the Red Arrows. The Red Arrows were good, but I think the Vulcan just took the show. Yeah.
Probably the Thunderbirds. It's been great, yeah.
Definitely the air displays, definitely. The Red Arrows as always. Yeah, always a favourite.
I like the tune-up as well. Yeah.
A Vulcan. Always like a Vulcan.
You're all split here,
I know.
Always up for debate in the car going home.
As Team Viper do their final display of the day, it's time to say goodbye from Waddington 2011. We've thoroughly enjoyed ourselves and I hope you have too. And as usual, the highlights, of course, were the Red Arrows and the Vulcan. But for me, it has to be the Las Vegas Thunderbirds. So until next time, from all of us here, goodbye.